featured football game of the week.
Fresh off the national championship season, the University of Sioux Falls Cougars are set to begin their season today on the road here in Orange City, Iowa, against the Northwestern Red Raiders, as the Raiders themselves finished in the top 25 last year, number 25, this year ranked in the top 25, and we have a top 25 matchup to get the season started in the Great Plains Athletic Conference, and it's great to have you with us. I'm John Thayer alongside Jason Dannelly, as always, as we get set, Jason, for this matchup, and we're looking forward to a good one. These two both in the top 25.
Yeah, two very quality football programs that no doubt come into this football game, knowing that even though it is the first week of the season, this has implications towards a Great Plains Athletic Conference title. And there is no doubt in my mind that the University of Sioux Falls is ready for that, and the Northwestern College Red Raiders are ready for tonight's contest.
Well, we take a look at both of these teams, and we'll start with the home team on the scoreboard tonight with the offense led by Rosaboom, the quarterback, and Taylor Malm, the running back. These two guys are really going to have to get after it today, Jason, and be some leaders on the field.
Yeah, the one thing that we really talked about earlier today before we came on was the quarterback, Jamie Rosenboom. And Northwestern has felt like, hey, we got our starter back. We've got our starting quarterback back. But in reality, Jamie Rosenboom has not played any meaningful minutes in a football game as of yet. Yes, he won the job last fall before getting injured, but after he got injured last fall, he, of course, did not play, and he has not played football in over a year and a half. So it's going to be a little while before he can, I think, feel himself into this football game tonight and just know exactly how he's going to react to the pressure. Taylor Malm, on the other hand, is a guy that was a workhorse last year. He led the team in touchdowns, all-purpose yards, just about everything on offense. He was the Red Raider offense, John.
Now we talk about Malm and Rosaboom, and a big thing for Northwestern back this year are the offensive linemen. They've got a lot of guys back. I believe 4 starters back this year for the Northwestern Red Raiders offensive line, and also 3 guys who played a lot last year.
Yeah, I feel like the Northwestern offensive line is a very veteran offensive line. They're a quality offensive line. That's going to help them against the University of Sioux Falls' defensive line, just because those front 3 for the University of Sioux Falls maybe aren't as seasoned as what the Northwestern offensive line is. The one thing about Northwestern's offensive line, size-wise, they're not huge. They're 260, they're 270, but they're small, quick guys that are advantageous to this running game.
On the other sideline for the Sioux Falls offense, every 2 years for about the last 8 years, they've started a new quarterback, and it happens again this year, 2 years after Lorenzo Brown took over the starting duties. They now have John Eastman, a transfer from Colorado State, to lead that offense.
Yeah, John Eastman will only be a one-year starter as he's in his senior year, but prior to this, it was Lorenzo Brown for 2 years. Before that, Chad Cavender for 2 years, and before that, Joe Wright for 2 years. So it's been 2 and 1 now as Jonathan Eastman takes the reins for the University of Sioux Falls. He's a quality football player out of Colorado State. They've already talked about him in the two-a-days camp and really preseason camp for the University of Sioux Falls. What he's been able to do has been tremendous. He's got a good arm. He has the ability to run. And most importantly, he's got size at 6'2 and 215, John. I really feel like John Eastman is a guy that can come into this offense and be able to thrive very early for the Cougars.
Well, one reason he will be able to thrive is because of the offensive weapons the Cougars have at wide receiver. John Ryan, Alex Anderson, Tony Benedetto. These are some good wide receivers.
These guys are some quality wide receivers, and John Ryan and Alex Anderson have been carrying much of the load throughout their career for the last 3 seasons. These guys have been getting a lot of minutes in big-time football games, and I really feel like John Ryan's a guy that can make a name for himself this year. Alex Anderson, the same thing, as well as Tony Benedetto. He really comes from a football family for the University of Sioux Falls. His uncle is the president of Sioux Falls, of the University of Sioux Falls. His brother, Nick Benedetto, played for the Cougars on a couple of national championship teams, and Nick is now a graduate assistant with the University of South Dakota. So he is a football kid, a football mind, and he'll be good as that third wide receiver for the Cougars.
Speaking of a football family, we go to Northwestern's defense. A football family there is Aaron Jansen, a sophomore, gets the start at middle linebacker. He'll be a key to this Northwestern defense. I believe it was his brother Austin that was here for Northwestern, and he was very good. They're expecting this Jansen kid to be pretty good.
Yeah, if you're like me and you're a person that follows Northwestern, but you're not a day-to-day follower of the Red Raiders, and you look at their roster, every year you see Jansen and you go, do these kids ever graduate? Well, it's just the same family, and guess what? They're a football family, and this Jansen is just as good as the others. As a sophomore, checks in. He's got a nice 6'3" frame on him. He's a guy that can come off the edge and put some pressure on the quarterback. Most importantly, he is just a tough football player, and the University of Sioux Falls needs to be aware of him offensively because he's a guy that can make plays defensively for the for Northwestern College.
On a couple other linebackers that are expected to step up and be pretty good. Another one is T.J. Lynch. I believe he was out last year, and he's back this year to help Northwestern.
Yeah, this Northwestern football team was riddled with injuries last year. This year they get the opportunity to try and bring some of those guys back and give themselves an opportunity to really try and move themselves forward in the Great Plains Athletic Conference.
And in the secondary, we talked about the wide receivers for Sioux Falls. The secondary led by Caleb Van Otterloo. He's going to have to be good and lead this defense.
Yeah, Caleb Van Otterloo is a guy that is a complete football player. You can really put him anywhere in that secondary. You can really put him anywhere on the field, John, and he's going to be successful. And again, you talk about football families. Van Otterloo is another one of those names we've seen with Northwestern through the years that's really been a tough football player. And Van Otterloo is just going to be a guy to roam around back there, and Eastman needs to be careful that he doesn't overlook Otterloo because Otterloo can jump up, get a pick, and take it to the house.
Well, the Sioux Falls defense, they have been the heart and soul of that program's success for the last few years, and this year they're missing a lot of familiar names, including a one Trevor Holloman, who was very, very good in his career at Sioux Falls. He is gone. What do they have to replace him?
You know, Trevor Holloman, the guy that they thought was going to replace him was Dustin Bergman. Bergman is a guy that's going to get a lot of minutes tonight. He's been banged up a little bit through two-a-days camp, and he is currently, listed as a second-string guy. You've also got Angelo Pree back there. Joe Moan and Dan Schmeichel are two guys that are going to step up in that secondary to play big-time minutes for the University of Sioux Falls this season. Schmeichel's a tough kid. Moan the same thing. These guys have played in a lot of big football games, and even though it's the start of the season tonight, they know the implications tonight, and that as defensive backs, they need to be ready for Northwestern.
And tonight on the Sioux Falls defense, we'll see one guy who could be one of the best linebackers in the country, may end up being the best, in Dom Studzinski. Excuse me, this guy's really good.
Dom Studzinski was the defensive MVP last year of the national championship game. He's a guy that just does his job every single week. You're not going to see him come across the middle and take somebody's head off. He's probably not going to pick off a pass and take it to the end zone for a touchdown. But what he's going to do tonight is he's going to help limit Taylor Malm and what Malm does when he gets to that second level. No doubt the Northwestern offensive line will have some success and get the front three blocked for the University of Sioux Falls. But what are the linebackers going to do? Dom Studzinski is the guy that's got to step up and be able to find Malm and bring him down for that 1 and 2 yard run instead of a 3 to 5 yard run.
Well, second-year head coach Kyle Achterhoff for Northwestern. He's looking for a big year for Northwestern, 7-3 last year, and he's just looking for that big win really to get his Red Raiders over the hump.
Yeah, Kyle Achterhoff had a great rookie season as a head coach. He has been with the Northwestern program really all of his professional coaching life. He's a great head coach, but he needs to get that big win to move himself forward as a head coach. And, a win against rival University of Sioux Falls would be one, John, that would certainly be a nice feather in his cap.
Well, especially a guy who's been in this program for so long, just trying to keep it at the top.
Yeah, he is one that they think can take it back to the top, and the Red Raiders need to get a victory here tonight in order for him to maybe feel a little bit more comfortable about where they're at heading towards a Great Plains Athletic Conference title.
Oh, while he's been in the program for a long time, there's a new guy in the program of Sioux Falls. It's Judd Stewart. Stewart spent some time as a head coach at the NAIA level, a Mid-American Nazarene. But then he went to UNLV and now back as a head coach for the University of Sioux Falls in his first season.
Yeah, the University of Sioux Falls brings in Judd Stewart as their head football coach. He had success at Mid-American Nazarene, making the playoffs 2 seasons in a row. He did lose playoff games to Bethel of Tennessee as well as Langston University, but he has tasted success and he has tasted conference championships, and they expect him to be able to keep that going with the Great Plains Athletic Conference this year and as they move forward into NCAA Division II. Judd Stewart Stugart's a great football coach. Most importantly, he's a great coach because he lets the others around him do their job and be successful. You're going to see Ryan Grubb and John Anderson have a lot more free reign this year as they become first-year coordinators, as they were assistant coaches last year in this USF program.
Well, we've touched on everything in this big matchup. Jason, your final thoughts heading into the ball game?
I think we can have a well-controlled, great ball game tonight if Northwestern does not turn the football over, if they can control the offensive line and be able to get some success running the football. If they turn the ball over and if they can establish their run game, this could be a whole lot of purple all over the field tonight for the University of Sioux Falls because they've got some firepower.
Well, stick with us. We've got a top 25 battle between the defending national champion Sioux Falls Cougars and the Red Raiders of Northwestern College, and it's coming up next.
At a time when sports are heading in the wrong direction, the NAIA is changing the culture of sport. Through the Champions of Character program, with the support of Buffalo Funds, our college students are learning character traits that change behaviors, and they're bringing the message to coaches, parents, and teams nationwide. Visit NAIA.org and learn how your team can become champions of character.
1.
And we're back at Corver Field as we get set for a GPAC opening weekend between the defending national champion Sioux Falls Cougars and the Red Raiders of Northwestern. I'm John Thayer alongside Jason Dannelly as always and the commissioner of the Great Plains Athletic Conference, Corey Westra. Corey, we'll bring you in. It's good to have you with us.
Well, great to be here tonight, John, and this should be just a tremendous football game. You don't get a chance to see a lot of top 25 matchups right out of the gate, but this has about as much pageantry as you're going to see in NAIA college football tonight. Two big crowds, a huge rivalry game. They always called it Red Raider Week in Sioux Falls, but it ended up being Red Raider Month because it's the first game of the year, so the focus in both these camps has been on this game, and here we are about 3.5 minutes away.
Well, this game was actually scheduled later in the season until the closing of Dannelly, and then you had to redo all of the schedules. What was that process like? And then when you put Northwestern and Sioux Falls at the top, first game of the year, your first thought was?
Well, first of all, I think it was supposed to be the last game of the year, and it ended up coming all the way up to the top. And to be honest with you, I wasn't looking so much at the matchups. I was looking at the home and away and trying to get a balance. And when I finally had a puzzle that worked, I'm like, oh, my goodness, it's Sioux Falls Northwestern on week 1. But, at that point, we were about 6 versions in. We said, let's go with it. And coaches have been great. Coach Stewart, of course, first year at Sioux Falls. He's kind of excited about a rivalry game out of the gate. Called Kyle on his vacation. He said, thanks a lot. Probably drove off the road. But, here we are tonight, and, got to play them all at some point. There's going to be 10 conference games, and it just happens to be the red and the purple this week.
These, of course, two of the top teams in the conference for quite a few years now, and this storied rivalry in itself, Northwestern owns the advantage 25-15, but the last few years, about last 10, have been dominated by Sioux Falls, so this is a big matchup for the conference.
Yeah, last 10 years, as you said, it was 2000. That was the last time that Northwestern did defeat the University of Sioux Falls. As everybody knows, USF's in the midst of quite a run here. They got the nation's longest win streak under their belt. They're the 2-time defending national champs. They're 3 out of 4. They could have almost won really 4 in a row. Everybody knows what the Cougars bring to the table, and the big thing right now is what do they bring to the table this year, because it's a new coaching staff, it's a new regime, it's Judd Stewart, it's not Kalen DeBoer, there's no more Chuck Morrell in the defensive box, so what do they bring to the table? And I think that's what probably across the way the big question marks are, is what's this team going to look like? Of course, on this side of the box with Northwestern, it's kind of an exciting year for them. They got a lot of players back. They got Jamie Rosenblum back at quarterback. I know they're very excited to have a true signal caller, if you will, behind center, whereas last year they kind of had to do it by committee when they had injuries early on. So both teams are kind of pumped up about what they bring to the field, and we'll find out here in a couple of minutes what it's all about.
I tell you one thing, guys, and I think Corey hits on a lot of it. This game was really about what can each team bring to this football game that they didn't have last year. USF didn't have the head coach that they have right now. Northwestern didn't have the quarterback that they have right now. And seeing how each of these two teams will be able to bring things together tonight and then hopefully be able to move forward in an aggressive fashion in this first game, I can't tell you just how exciting this is for NAIA football and, for the Great Plains Athletic Conference since we got the commission in the house.
Well, and really, Jason, when you think about last year, it kind of came down to Lorenzo Brown. He kind of ran this game wild last year. He ran for 118 yards and 3 scores, and in a blink of an eye, Sioux Falls was kind of up in this one big and moving away, and then Adam Lopez had the big second half kickoff return for a touchdown that really ended up being a pretty big nail. So I think you're exactly right. It's a new regime. It's John Eastman now at quarterback for USF, so we'll see what they bring behind center. We talked about Jamie Rosenbaum, so a lot of ifs coming out here on the turf tonight.
You talked about Lorenzo Brown running for 3 touchdowns. He also threw for 3 touchdowns, and it was a big game for one of the wide receivers we'll see for Sioux Falls, and John Ryan. I believe he had 3 catches in that game. 2 of those were touchdowns, so certainly made the most out of his opportunities a year ago.
Yeah, John Ryan really hit his stride about middle of last year. North Dakota game was real big for him up north, of course. Then this game as well, played on Halloween Day a year ago. So, I'm sure Northwestern has put that one out of their mind, maybe watched a little bit of the film, but as they get set for a new kickoff, it's a brand new year. They can't think about the last 10 years. It's all about tonight, and they got to take this game in chunks. This is a series-by-series game against Sioux Falls. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. I mean, you cannot get caught up in what went wrong on that play, because Sioux Falls is just too good of a football team that they will put 14 on you in a blink if you start to get your daubers down just a little bit.
An absolutely beautiful night in Orange City, Iowa, in northwest Iowa, as you don't often see the first game of the year with people wearing hooded sweatshirts, but they'll don them tonight. 70 degrees as we get set to kick off, and we expect the temperature will drop throughout the evening. But Rodriguez has put a boot into it, and we're underway as this one will go to Adam Lopez at the 8-yard line, and Lopez looking to get the Cougars started. A hole in the middle initially, cut off at the 30-yard line where he's brought down, and the Cougar offense will have it 1st and 10.
Well, one of the things I wrote in my notes, John, for pregame was Northwestern can't give up anything special. And that's special teams. They have got to get on the kickoff return. They got to be on the ball right there. 30-yard line, you'd like to see 20 are in, but, Lopez, such a deadly weapon, saw what he could do here last year. So far, so good. Now the defense will have to step out and see what this Cougar offense is all about.
We'll get our first look at John Eastman. He started a couple of games at Colorado State, and he is now at Sioux Falls. Chris Porter is the running back. Alex Anderson, John Ryan, the wide receivers. Porter gets the first call of the game, and he'll bounce off one tackler before being driven down. It's a pickup of 4 on the play, and 2nd down for the Cougars.
And, of course, Porter getting the carry on that particular play, but we're looking for a couple individuals that maybe a lot of people aren't real familiar with, and one is Siobhan Walker, transfer out of Eastern Illinois, and also Jordan Taylor, a transfer out of Marshall, who we have found out not too long ago are eligible and can play in this game tonight. So the running game for Sioux Falls could be much more to talk about as the game goes on.
Certainly something they're excited about it. Benedetto in motion. Eastman, his first pass of the game. Got a tuck and run. Nowhere to go initially. He was able to escape, and he's close to a first down marker. Looks like he has the first down of the game.
He's a real big guy. I mean, he's looks like he can take care of himself when he carries the ball, and he proved it there. He ducked out right into the middle of that defense, and he moves the chains, which at this point they're looking to get some first downs and find their rhythm in this game.
We're about 60 seconds into the ball game. The opening drive here by Sioux Falls. 1st and 10. Eastman under center. Movement on the offensive front, and the Cougars will go backwards. 1st and 15.
Yep, right on the interior line there. Signals got crossed. Probably heard what was the go call there, and they do move back. So that helps anytime you got a longer first down situation, and that will be exactly what we have here. 1st and 15, not over the 50-yard line yet.
Yeah, the University of Sioux Falls against Northwestern on the road, you just really that's one of those situations where both teams have got to make sure they don't make silly mistakes, because now 1st and 15 against a very good defense here, guys. Going to be tough for the Cougars. Alex
Anderson, John Ryan split out top of the screen. Porter in the backfield. Play action. Eastman wants to throw. Has all day. Now hit from behind. Fumble on the play.
I think Northwestern's got it, John. I thought I saw a Red Raider orange swoop in there. We'll see what Randy Hagedorn comes out of the pile with, the referee for tonight's game.
There may have been a Cougar offensive lineman get on it, and indeed there was. as one of the offensive linemen was just able to get his big arm in there and corral in the football, and Sioux Falls escapes trouble early.
Well, that must have been a muscle pull underneath there, because I thought the Northwestern guy might have snuck in there, but they're big, strong, and up front, and they had to fight for that battle to get it back. So first attempt at pass play goes awry for Sioux Falls, so they face now a 2nd down and 20, as they have now moved back to basically where they started the series.
Give credit to the center, Casey Peters. He is a big fella at 270 pounds to haul in that football on the fumble. 4 wide receivers now for Sioux Falls. The first time we've seen them spread out the field. We're inside 13 minutes to play here in the opening quarter. Eastman wants to throw. Looking wide open in the middle of the field, it's John Ryan. And Ryan at the 45 to the 46 where he's brought down. And he was corralled immediately. Not a whole lot of room to run after he was able to make the catch. John Gerber in on the stop for Northwestern.
That wide receiver core for Sioux Falls is just so tough to handle. John Ryan, of course, is probably the headliner there, but we've called Benedetto's name out in motion. Anytime they're going to spread it out, it becomes really hard on your secondary, and I'm sure Northwestern's defensive coordinator spent a lot of time looking at that this week.
3rd down and 5, a big 3rd down for the Northwestern defense. 3 wide receivers into the game. Movement early. And this will bring up 3rd and 10. I believe Sioux Falls moved early.
Yeah, it looked like the right tackle. Marco Sagasi jump in, and that's 2 penalties on the first drive here, guys. It's just USF, the #1 team in the country, shooting themselves in the feet with some mental errors.
Movement on the offensive line is not something that Sioux Falls is really used to either.
And that's a big 3rd down now coming here. We're looking at 3rd and 10 after the pass play initially to Ryan. So here's your first 3rd and long, and these are the types of defensive situations Northwestern's got to win out to be successful tonight.
5 wide receivers. Empty backfield for Eastman. Jansen showing blitz for Northwestern. And they'll back away. 3-0 rush for the Red Raiders. Nearly pulled down. Now Eastman wants to run. Slipping tackles, he's got the first down to the 45-yard line. First down, Sioux Falls. What a play for John Eastman.
Well, if you wondered what they were going to do post-Lorenzo Brown era on terms of broken plays, I guess our answer came early. John Eastman's pretty good at broken plays as well. He's taken them right up the gut twice tonight.
So a big first down, and now Sioux Falls marching into Northwestern territory for the first time this evening. And it was a pretty good move by Eastman as he got right past Caleb Van Otterloo, had a chance to make the tackle before the first down. Tight end in motion.
They wanted movement again, and I think they're going to get it, John. Again, on that line, they are not getting those signals down tonight, and they're going to move back again.
Credit a lot of this to this crowd and the noise level here. These Northwestern fans are out in full force. We got a packed homestands.
Well, there's no question, and the student body has come out with everything in the kitchen sink, literally. We've got pots and pans and togas for another thing, and it's just it's pretty wild atmosphere for the first night game of the year.
I think the one guy brought all of his laundry money in his bottle. He's shaking that down there. First down at 15. They'll keep it on the ground. And that's Jordan Taylor, the transfer from Marshall. He's good for a couple of yards. 2nd down.
Played 7 games for the Herd last year. He's listed as a sophomore. He's one of those 2 players that we mentioned early on that will be in the backfield now for Coach Stugart. The other one, again, is Siobhan Walker. We've yet to see him. He'll wear 29 if he hits to the field. So interior running play there, but sniffed out pretty well by the Red Raider D.
And Siobhan Walker is into the game. He came in for Jordan Taylor. So we'll see Siobhan Walker into the field for the first time. He's in the backfield alongside John Eastman. 3 wide receivers for the Cougars. Eastman wants to throw across the middle, has his tight end Van Ho, nowhere to go.
Well, they had an option there with Walker on the flats, but they decided to go over the middle to the tight end, a little more of the conservative call. Siobhan Walker has a pretty good, impressive resume coming out of Eastern Illinois, where he's been for 2 years. 2nd on the team 2 years in a row in rushing, which isn't bad. Of course, Hawkeye fans saw a lot of them today. They played at Kinnick, so he also spent some time as a freshman at the University of Florida, so he's been around some football.
Certainly has.
He's out wide right now.
5 wide receiver set on 3rd down and 11. Northwestern defense has stepped up big, all but one play. in this game. We'll see if they can do it again on 3rd and 11. Eastman airs it out across the middle. Incomplete. Broken up by Jansen, I believe that was on coverage. The linebacker on coverage of John Ryan.
That was an absolutely phenomenal play over the middle there. Timed it perfectly, got his hand in there, knocked it away, and the Red Raider D holds out here for a 4th down, and they should get the ball in offense for the first time tonight.
We'll see Braden Weeking for the first time to punt it away for Sioux Falls.
Braden Weeking is a phenomenal kicker and punter for the Cougars. Just a sophomore, 100 PATs last year, but he's also got a great boot to him on the punting side.
Chris Butler, Taylor Malm await the kick from Weeking. High snap, able to pull it down, and an end-over-end kick. It'll bounce and fielded by Butler at the last second. He's buried out of bounds. Northwestern will have it 1st and 10 from their own 14-yard line.
So we'll see Jamie Rosaboom for the first time tonight here for the Northwestern Red Raiders. Hurt in camp last year, did not see any action. Brad Payne played quarterback last year. I know in being at our GPAC football press conference, Coach Achterhoff is very excited, as we said, to have a true signal caller back there. His backup is just a freshman, Davis Blumendahl, so they're really putting the load on Rosaboom this year. They also would have Payne, of course, if they needed him. So let's see what this Northwestern offense brings to the field. Going to see a lot, I think, out of the running game.
Disappointed last year when he got injured, is scheduled to be the guy for Northwestern. Air it out on the first play, and he overthrows his running back Taylor Malm, who was wide open out in the middle of the field.
Well, shows you what I know. I think that was probably designed to keep the Cougars off guard. Taylor Malm is obviously going to be the go-to guy out of the backfield. That time they run him up the middle on the hash marks, trying to get the big strike here on 1st down. They go to 2nd down, but just keeping them on edge here early on in this one on the first Red Raider possession.
It'll be important for Northwestern to move the football on this opening drive against the Cougar defense.
Well, again, that's exactly right. It's a series by series. They have got to move the ball. They cannot be forced into bad positions where they're going to have to punt out of the end zone and those types of deals.
They'll keep it on the ground. It's the fullback, Brandon Smith, straight ahead. He's popped from behind and the helmet comes off. 5-yard pickup for the Red Raiders, 3rd down and 5.
Yeah, big hit on the interior there. Just the fullback powering forward, trying to make that 3rd down manageable, and it's a 3rd and 5 from the 20.
This is what we talked about, John, with USF and Northwestern. Red Raiders got to try to establish the run here, and on 3rd and 5, they're in a situation where they are probably more likely to try and run the football, some style of outside zone on this play.
They'll split out 4 wide receivers. Caleb Van Otterloo is out there as a wide receiver, starting defensive back for Northwestern. Will play both ways. Rosaboom wants to throw, wrapped up and brought down. Nowhere to go for Rosaboom, and Antonio Turner in there for the sack.
Well, this Sioux Falls defense, as you know, of course, Chuck Morrell's now at the University of South Dakota, but they are a prideful group, and they do not like to give up yards. They were the nation's leading defense last year, and in one of my notes, again, I wrote, we don't know what the offense is going to do, but we know our defense is good, and right there they proved it on a big 3rd down stop inside the 15 where Northwestern will have to punt.
Tim Vermeer will be set to punt it away for Northwestern. Correction, and they'll have
Davis Blumendahl.
I think that's Davis Blumendahl. Is that Davis Blumendahl?
That might be Blumendahl.
I think it is Davis Blumendahl. And talking to his dad, who's actually the golf coach, he said he thought he was going to punt tonight, and that looks to be the freshman right out here in Orange City on the goal line.
And we have a delay of game.
I think we have a game clock that malfunctioned.
They've thrown a flag and backed up Northwestern.
Delay of game, not a malfunction. It just ran to 0. So they're going to get, they'll crank it back up to 25. And this is what I talked about a little bit ago, John. Look where they're punting from. They're punting from inside the soccer box, inside the end zone. And this is where Sioux Falls is likely to bring the house.
I believe it's Benedetto back deep for Sioux Falls. He stands at midfield. So regardless, this appears like it'll be good field position for the Cougars. Good snap, not much pressure, and the punt is away. Benedetto lost the football.
That's a live ball.
Northwestern has the football at the 30-yard line.
That was a bang right there.
Wow, that's getting down the field and laying the wood on someone. Great job by Northwestern sending a message right away here. They're going to play physical.
don't give up something special, but you can make something special, and that was a huge special teams play. Punt didn't have a lot of yardage to it, but boy, what a great coverage.
Nate Fisher came out of the pile with the football for Northwestern, and the Red Raiders get it right back. We'll see if the offense can get something going here on their second possession.
Well, these are the opportunities you got to take advantage of. You just don't see Sioux Falls do those types of things very often, so Jamie Rosenbaum will march right back out there and see if he can't move this offense down the field. Did some passing on that initial series. We'll see what Coach Achterhoff thinks this time around with doubles in the backfield.
Rensink, the backup tight end, he's listed at. He's split out now in motion. Line up tight. They'll keep it on the ground to Brandon Smith, the fullback. Forward for 12 yards and a first down.
He's running well tonight. He's had some gaps, some great blocking up front again on that play by Northwestern. I know in your write-up, you talked about the O-line, and I think you gave the edge to the Red Raiders on the O-line, and right there they proved that they can muscle up against this defense of Sioux Falls and create some holes.
And maybe a little surprise out here, Taylor Malm carried this offense last year, the running back. We have not seen him in the backfield much tonight. He will be back there right now. He split out a lot of these plays.
Well, it could have a lot to do with Jamie Rosenbaum being back in the dimensions that the offense has now.
Malm will get this carry, and he's forward for 5 yards, maybe 6. And a solid run for Taylor Malm.
Well, almost to midfield here. Again, some good success here by the Red Raiders, moving the ball on both downs thus far here in this second series of the first quarter.
Second down and 4, 6:38 to play in this opening quarter. Northwestern had the football. They had to punt it away, but on the return it was fumbled, and the Red Raiders are now in business. Rosenbaum will take the pass. He wants to throw. Van Otterloo, and he overthrew him. Fine defensive play by Brett Jensen to come in and knock down Van Otterloo and make sure he wasn't going to hold on to the football.
You mentioned Caleb Van Otterloo. He's playing both ways. He is just a tremendous threat out of Lamar's. Of course, that's a very tradition-rich family out of Lamar's, the Van Otterloos, pardon me. His brother played here as well, and it's kind of the old high school mantra, go both ways, but you can't blame Northwestern for that at all.
A tremendous athlete, and they are trying to make the most of it. Walker, Rensink, Van Otterloo split out for the Red Raiders on 3rd down and 4. Play action option. Taylor Malm has room. First down. Northwestern across the 45 to the 44-yard line.
How about that for a timing play on week 1? Boy, that was just timed to the perfection of when that pitch had to go and executed perfectly by Jamie Rosenbaum. And a first down, and the chains have been moved into the other side of midfield.
We talked about Caleb Van Otterloo playing both ways. We're going to watch him throughout this game. He just took himself out of this football game, and that's something the coaches probably said, you have to manage yourself out there if you're going to play on defense and offense for us.
Oh, I would absolutely agree. I think he's got the full reign as to what he wants to do, barring the situational plays that they want to run.
Rensink in motion. The tight end. 2 in the backfield. They'll keep it on the ground. Taylor Malm trying to bounce to the outside. He was able to get a few, and then he was cut down by Dan Schmeichel, penalty marker on the field.
I think we're going to see a hold on Northwestern here around the corner. It just seemed like they were stacking up, and it a little too much there, so we'll see what comes out of this. But I think our white hat has this one. I would suspect a hold, and Northwestern gets moved back.
Holding on the offense, number 64. That's a 10-yard penalty from the spot foul. Replay, first down.
That's Nathan Neuendorf. He's right from here in Orange City, around the corner there. Got a little too much jersey there. So first mistake, I guess, if you will, by Northwestern tonight. We've seen Sioux Falls have some procedure calls already that have hurt them in their offensive sequencing. So now the ball moved back for Northwestern.
So the first trip into the Cougar territory ends quickly as the Northwestern back on their half of the field. First down and 20. Play action. They'll swing it out to Van Otterloo, and he's hit absolutely immediately. Nowhere to go for Caleb Van Otterloo.
Very well timed out there on the corner. They were right up on it. It looked like Angelo Pree at defensive back from Pittsburgh, California. He just stacked him right up when he caught the ball, and nothing doing there. In fact, a loss on the play, back to a 2nd and 21.
Boy, Rosenbaum and the offense are going to have to come up with a big play here.
Yeah, you want to make 3rd down manageable, that's for sure. So we'll see what they dial in here. They're going to go out of the shotgun.
Walker, Rensink, split out bottom of the screen. And on the far sideline is Van Otterloo. 2 in the backfield. It's Smith and Malm. Option. Rosenboom lets it go to Malm, and Malm trying to cut the corner. He's across midfield to the 49 and able to pick up a few yards, but still 3rd down and long.
Like you said, he got a few back, but it's going to definitely be a passing down here, I would suspect, for Northwestern. Again, Sioux Falls defense up the middle is so tough to run the ball on, even on a draw. So this is going to be a huge 3rd down situation early on for field position, if anything else. Of course, a punt here should put Sioux Falls back quite a ways, but we'll see if Northwestern can convert.
Caleb Van Otterloo, top of the screen. Tyler Walker, bottom of the screen. Smith and Malm in the backfield. Rosenboom take the snap, play action. He'll roll out, being chased and brought down. Rosenboom did not get rid of the football, and he ran out of room as he's brought down by Eric Anderson.
Yeah, they kind of had that. I think they kind of had a sense of what was coming there, and they sent him up front and stacked him right up. When he turned to go play action, there was no breathing room, and the Cougar D bends but does not break, helped out by the big penalty on the hold to move him back, and they're going to get the ball back on offense.
The one thing I think Rosenboom could have done there, I mean, he got outside the tackles. You almost chucked that thing away so you don't lose the yardage there. Now you put yourself in a little deeper punt situation.
Remember, Tony Benedetto fumbled the last punt return. He's not out there now. Michael Hicks will have an opportunity, and a high snap. Blomendale goes up to get it and gets a nice punt away. Beautiful punt by Blomendale. And that's going to roll inside the 15, maybe inside the 10. Wow, what a punt for a high snap.
Hey, not bad for a freshman in his first college football game, huh? He got that thing away in the midst of a lot of white jerseys, and he managed to pin USF down inside the 10-yard line. So John Eastman will march back out with his brand-new offense. Again, from what we were told early on, we're not going to see a lot of changes in the scheme for Sioux Falls. That's one thing to say, but you got a lot of new players out here as well, so they may not know what that scheme is. So we'll see if they find some rhythm here in their second possession. You had kind of some points being scored in this game, but we're almost through the first, and we have nothing on the board.
This has been a fine defensive effort by both teams so far. Sioux Falls, their second offensive possession. They move the ball fairly well in their first try, and they'll keep it on the ground to Jordan Taylor. Taylor rumbling forward. He's got about 6 yards on the play. And a solid pickup for Jordan Taylor.
Kept his shoulders square, and he's got a lot behind him there, and he just powered his way through for the yardage of 7 and makes it a 2nd and 3 here as they come close to the end of the first quarter. Now, normally when these two hook up here, anytime in Orange City, generally you have wind to speak of, but that flag is absolutely limp. It really does not matter what way you go tonight, and I know in games past that's been a big deal. But quarter by quarter has always kind of made a difference.
They'll keep it on the ground, do the Cougars. I believe that's Taylor again, straight ahead, and he's right at the first down marker.
Probably not a bad play there. Keep the defense kind of honest by going on the ground. Kind of opens yourself up here on this 3rd down. Just trying to power forward for yardage. Doesn't look like they picked up too much, though, and probably about a 2nd and 3.
We're going to have a stoppage here, and they're going to measure this one, as this one pretty close, so we'll get a stop. So far, Jason, these two teams, they've battled out some defensive, really a defensive battle so far.
Yeah, it really has been a defensive battle, and early in the season, games like this, you typically find that your defense a little bit further ahead, especially when you're in a big-time game like this. Both offenses really hyped up, and it's just going to come down to which one of these two offenses finds their groove early. I'm impressed with Northwestern and what they've been able to do offensively so far, despite giving up a couple big defensive plays like that last sack.
Well, they had enough for the first down. The measurement moved, and the chains have been moved.
Almost had to get out the old card to check that one. That was close. 2 wide receivers into the game. 3 down linemen for Northwestern. They'll swing this one out. Alex Anderson has it, nearly slipping. And Van Otterloo on the tackle.
We give a lot of credit to that Sioux Falls defense and everything they've done, but keep in mind the Northwestern defense allowed under 20 points a game last year as well, and even though they narrowly missed the playoffs, that late loss in Mitchell to Dakota Wesleyan kind of kept them out of the FCS. They had a great defense last year, and I know that they expect good things out of the returners they have, and so far in the early season, as Jason said, the defenses should be a little further along, and they've proven that they are.
Alex Anderson, John Ryan split out for the Cougars. Eastman will turn, he'll hand it straight ahead. Siobhan Walker, nowhere to go. He's brought down in the backfield.
Great interior pursuit there. On the play, it looked like it was Caleb Van Otterloo. We talked about him before. He got in there and got his hands around him.
Second down and 10, minute 38 to tick away in this first quarter. We have no score here in Orange City on a beautiful night for college football.
Actually, I think I should take that back. I think that was Austin Rosaboom that got in there. 8-9 kind of looked the same from up here, and great play on the again in the backfield to keep Sioux Falls at bay.
Siobhan Walker into the backfield for the Cougars. John Ryan in motion. Eastman wants to throw. Looking left the entire time. He'll send it to Alex Anderson, and it's incomplete. And Anderson playing a little defense on the defender, Van Otterloo.
Yeah, I think he sensed that ball was going to be overthrown, so he became more of a protector and did a good job there. Great double coverage down the field at the 50 by Northwestern. It looked like they had that well covered and figured out from the snap.
Third down and 10 for the Cougars. They faced another third down against this Northwestern defense. Northwestern ranked number 23 in the country, and they are hoping to do some big things this year. They haven't been in the playoffs, the championship series, for a couple of years, and they would love to get back into the NAIA championship series. Benedetto in motion. Eastman wants to throw on 3rd and 10. Looking left, he's going to go deep, has a man wide open, and it's Alex Anderson, and Eastman overthrew him.
Well, they had the play dialed in, but there was some pressure on Eastman, and he just couldn't quite hit him in stride and left it out there too far, about 3-4 yards too far. And again, Northwestern defense steps up big and forces the Cougars to punt for the second time tonight.
And here's one of the problems with Caleb Van Otterloo playing both ways. Maybe getting a little tired. He was burned on that play by Alex Anderson, so they're going to have to watch him and make sure they get a good rotation between offense and defense. Braden Weeking back to punt it away. He stands at his own 15-yard line. Punt is away.
That came off a little funny.
Siobhan Walker will down it at the 41.
That's only about a 35-yard punt there, so maybe up to 40. The ball goes to the other 41. So good field position here for Northwestern. Weeking kind of had to get that one off quickly. I don't think it was tipped, but it might have come off the foot funny. Kind of was an up and down ball instead of a spiral ball. So Northwestern will march back out and get ready to go back on the offensive here.
The best starting field position for Northwestern here in this game.
Just can't give up penalties. You know, they were moving last time and got that penalty, and that kind of took them back out of system.
Rensink in motion for Northwestern. Rosaboom hands it to Brandon Smith. Smith a hole straight ahead. Look out. He's inside the 30. Smith, one man to beat, and the fullback dives. Did he get in?
He's out at about the 7, I think. Well, maybe
one guy saying yes, and one guy is waving this one dead. I believe we have him stepped out at the 9-yard line.
Yeah, I think he's out. Like you said, we've got the back linesman coming up and saying he stepped out of bounds, so they'll clarify that here.
The official who made the touchdown call, he was nearly to the track. He was run way off of the field. He was watching only the pylon, so this one will definitely not be a touchdown for Northwestern here.
And I think he's doing his job there. He's making sure if he does not go out of bounds, he's clearly been marked that he went in, and that's where the other guy comes back and he says, no, I got the foot, and good teamwork by the crew. Great crew on this game. Randy Hagedorn's crew does a phenomenal job, and what a great run. What a great trap up the middle. He busted the one, and he got a second great block on the interior, and he was off to the races. If
there's one thing you like about sports that is about the officials, it's that they get together and get the call right.
With no replay, you kind of need it.
Yeah. Taylor Malm split out this time. He's in motion, and they'll keep it on the ground straight ahead. A couple of yards and down to the 1.
I'd suspect, John, you're not going to see anything too fancy here for the first couple of downs. I would expect a lot of interior running. They've had some success powering with the fullbacks up the middle. No need to put that ball in the air and risk an interception or any type of crazy play at the goal line. Might let the clock run out on the quarter here as well, and we'll get to see this one a little closer to us down here on the south end of the field.
And that's what they'll do as the Red Raiders are walking away from the play to the sideline. 3 seconds, and we are through 15 minutes in Orange City at Corver Field. We have no score between the Sioux Falls Cougars and the Red Raiders of Northwestern.
At a time when sports are heading in the wrong direction, the NAIA is changing the culture of sport. Through the Champions of Character program, with the support of Buffalo Funds, our college students are learning character traits that change behaviors, and they're bringing the message to coaches, parents, and teams nationwide. Visit NAIA.org and learn how your team can become champions of character.
And we're back at Corver Field, Orange City, Iowa. John Thayer alongside Jason Dannelly and Corey Westra. The commissioner of the Great Plains Athletic Conference. We get set for the start of the second quarter, and the Red Raiders are driving, trying to put the first points on the scoreboard. This would be big if they score first.
Well, we did not. I mean, we saw a lot of Sioux Falls last year between the three of us, and we're not accustomed to seeing Sioux Falls give up big running plays, and they certainly did. Give all the credit in the world to the interior blocking there to get that big chunk of change and put them down inside the 5, and we're sitting on a 2nd and 1 here now for the Red Raiders. Like we mentioned before we went to the break and the quarter ended, I just don't expect a lot of fanciness here by Northwestern. It's probably going to be something pretty straight up the middle. Malm, maybe the fullback, as we've seen so far tonight. Brandon Smith, something like that, just to try to power it in and get the score.
Boy, Brandon Smith, he has been the show so far, the sophomore from Mankato, Minnesota. He has had a lot of carries and been asked to carry this offense throughout the first quarter.
Well, I know Coach Achterhoff was pretty excited about the running game that they brought to the table this year, and rightly so. With Rosenboom back at quarterback, they feel like they got a pretty powerful core back there.
They'll keep it on the ground. Taylor Malm into the end zone. Malm, touchdown.
Well, Taylor Malm gets the call there. Taylor had just a great season last year. He gets the first score of 2010 for Northwestern, and they are on the board 6-0 here, scoring on USF. And I wish we had our research analyst here, but when's the last time Sioux Falls was scored on first?
It has been a while, fellas. I'm trying to think off the top of my head when that could possibly have been. But the great thing is we've got the chat feature going for our broadcast tonight, and a lot of USF viewers, so somebody's probably going to pop that up there really soon.
Maybe Lindenwood in the championship game, but maybe outside of that in the GPAC, it's been a while.
James Rodriguez, the extra point is through the uprights. We're 4 seconds into the second quarter, and the touchdown lead belongs to the home team. It's Northwestern by 7.
At a time when sports are heading in the wrong direction, the NAIA is changing the culture of sport. Through the Champions of Character program, with the support of Buffalo Funds, our college students are learning character traits that change behaviors, and they're bringing the message to coaches, parents, and teams nationwide. Visit NAIA.org and learn how your team can become champions of character.
Join us next Saturday, September 11th, as Southern Virginia will be at Lindsey Wilson. We'll have pregame coming your way at 1:15 Central Time. John Thayer will have the play-by-play. I'll have the color commentary. It's the Victory Sports Network NAIA Football Game of the Week. That's coming your way next week right here on the Victory Sports Network.
7-0 is the lead for Northwestern at the start of this second quarter. We're 4 seconds into it. And Corey, this one, wow, what a drive by Northwestern, really. They're able to just put together a nice drive, credit a lot of it to that big run by Brandon Smith, but they did it right up the middle. It wasn't even a run to the outside and a speed, it was the power up the middle.
Yep, but that series has now got to be behind them. I mean, now they've got to come back out on defense. Again, that's great. We've got the lead, but this game is far from over. 7 points is nice, but now it's time to play defense. This game is just too tight of two tight teams that you can't afford to do that.
And the ball is kicked out of bounds by James Rodriguez. He had it lined up on the hash. They were trying to get the ball to Chris Porter and keep it away from Siobhan Walker. Both of those guys are dangerous, but they think Walker may be the more dangerous one, and the football squeaks out of bounds.
Yeah, you don't blame him for trying to keep it out of hands of Walker. He's proven he's a pretty explosive football player. We talked a little bit about his stats earlier, but 326 yards running the ball last year at Eastern Illinois. Scored a couple of touchdowns, I believe, as well. But they're going to get the ball here in good field position, obviously, by kicking the ball out of bounds, and we'll start near midfield.
First and 10.
Well, this will be big for the Northwestern defense to come out on the drive after you score a touchdown and get a stop. You don't want the score evened up right away.
Yeah, probably not what they exactly wanted, to see the offense of Sioux Falls at the 40, but be that as it may, they'll have to dig their heels in and be ready to go. Be interested to see what kind of offensive tweaks Sioux Falls makes here, see if they if they try to open things up a little more, if they maybe go on the ground more to Siobhan Walker. We'll see what they got planned.
Walker's in the backfield, play action. Eastman wants to throw, and he'll dump it short. About to pick up of 5 yards is Alex Anderson on the receiving end. He stepped out of bounds.
Well, there's no question Alex Anderson's a go-to in the offensive scheme this year for Coach Stugart. Again, a pickup of 5 there makes it a, 2nd and 4 from right near midfield for USF.
Jason, I believe last year he was a go-to wide receiver in one of the games we covered. He caught a couple of touchdowns.
Yeah, he did. He's been a guy that is really – he's been able to make big plays for you for Sioux Falls.
Siobhan Walker on the ground. Fighting forward, he has the first down by a yard. A good run by Siobhan Walker, and now you see why they were kicking the ball away from Walker. He's a very shifty back.
Well, there's no question. He left a would-be tackler in his shoes at about the 45. He cut back left and just had again made a 5-yard play into 10. And that's a good back. It just shows good athleticism and over midfield into Red Raider territory at the 49.
Siobhan Walker remains in the game. He is in the backfield. The lone back for the Cougars. Ryan and Anderson split out for Sioux Falls. Walker able to get past one tackler and then run out of bounds at the 49-yard line. No gain on the play.
Well, there's Van Otterloo again from the D-back position. I met him at the corner, one of the players there to stack him up among others. So didn't give up a whole lot on that play. We'll see where the mark is here. I would imagine probably right back at the 49. I think that's just a no-gain play.
Boy, Van Otterloo, we talked about him a lot, and we will continue to do so. He has been all over the field for Northwestern, a tremendous football player.
He's got Ryan out on the one-on-one, doesn't he, out there on the right side?
He does. And they'll go to Ryan. It's caught by Ryan, and Van Otterloo cuts him down. A pickup of 5, 3rd and 5 now for the Cougars of Sioux Falls.
So they got him in a one-on-one situation, just a quick 5-yard pickup. As the Cougars are just looking to kind of nibble away here on offense, kind of going to the short game here, get that ball down the field. Northwestern has the big blow of the night, the big rumble on offense with the big pickup of up the middle, but Sioux Falls yet to break anything.
13:20 to play in the second quarter, 7-0. Northwestern leads it. 3 wide receivers into the game. Siobhan Walker in the backfield alongside John Eastman. Eastman looking deep. He's going to escape pressure, and Eastman breaks the tackle. He's got the first down.
Just spun his way out of it, John, right there at the first down marker. Probably could have got stacked up short, but good field sense. He's been around a lot of football. He knew he needed a little bit more. He spun his way forward and got the no doubt first down. They didn't have to pull any chains out on that one, and the Cougars will keep the drive alive.
Boy, this is the second time Northwestern has had tacklers in the area, and they failed to make the tackle, resulting in a big gain for Sioux Falls.
Yep, no question, and those are the types of things that make D coordinators go nuts, but you got to stick with it. You've got a good game plan. You know you're getting there. You just have to get to that final execution, get that runner or wide receiver down.
Jordan Taylor into the game now. He'll get the call, and he's able to pick up about 5 yards on the play before he's wrapped up and pulled down by the Red Raiders.
This is where you kind of see it's a methodical drive. It's just kind of 5 yards, 5 yards, 5 yards, and before you know it, they're inside the 20. So, pretty good play calling here, I think, by Sioux Falls. They gave up a pretty big momentum score. Crowd got into it. Let's just go back and have a kind of a play-by-play drive, nibble away at it, and get this ball down the field.
Ben Aguilera was in on the stop for the Red Raiders. Second down, they'll call it 7. 12 minutes to play in this second quarter. Eastman swings it out, and it's off of the turf. Threw it short. on the swing pass.
Got to be careful on those swing passes. Saw it today in the Iowa game, I believe it was, where they were in the end zone and tried to run a swing pass and actually threw it behind the line of scrimmage. You gave up the big safety. Now we're not in a safety situation here, but you get very, very close to having a live ball situation, and Sioux Falls has already had the one botch deal on the punt. They can ill afford to give up anything again in that type of variety.
Third down for Sioux Falls. Northwestern's defense starting to spend a lot of time on the field. 5 wide receivers set for John Eastman, who has an empty backfield. The fans getting behind this defense here at Corver Field. Eastman wants to throw and does, and it is bobbled and then caught by John Ryan, and John Ryan is down to about the 28-yard line. I believe he's shy of the first down.
Well, I think we might just have to find out how gutsy is Judd Stewart, because I think he's going to be pretty close here. Does he dial it in and go for it? What did he do in his Mid-America Nazarene days when he won 26 games? This is kind of one of those tough calls at this point in the game.
This would be about a 45-yard field goal attempt if they lined it up, but it looks like the offense will stay on the field as John Eastman, the quarterback, is over to get the call from the offensive coordinator.
No surprise here from Judd Stewart. I mean, he's kind of been a little bit of a gunslinger. He's typically going to go for it in a situation like this, and obviously they need the points right now, being down 7-0.
That'll bring a lot of the fans to their feet here on the home side. And on 4th and short, just before we get it snapped, we're going to have a timeout taken by Sioux Falls, so Coach Stewart wants to talk more about it.
Obviously, Coach Stewart, I think he's looking at the situation here, John, and just simply saying, all right, how close are we? What's our best play? What's something that we know we can rely on in this situation to get the yardage we need to get a first down?
Yeah, this is one of those games where you got to get it right. It's going to be a game of a possession here and a possession there, and I think this is probably a wise timeout. We got 11 minutes left in the first half. Nobody's taken a timeout yet, and like I said, you're coming off a big momentum score by Northwestern. The crowd is starting to get up on their feet. You want to get the troops kind of dialed in here and make sure they know exactly what they're going to do and where this ball is going to go.
Well, a lot of this decision may run on the defense as well. How much, if you don't get this, do you believe in your defense for them to make up a big stop and be able to handle the field position that would be given to Northwestern? But the offense is out on the field for the Sioux Falls Cougars. 4th down and 2. 11:06 to play in the half, 7-0 Northwestern. I formation. Siobhan Walker is the tailback. John Ryan goes in motion. Eastman, play action. Gets rid of it right before he's hit, and it is completed for a first down and a big play as Arsenio Richardson, who is a running back, was lined up in the fullback position out of the backfield to make the catch.
That was pretty good poise by Eastman there, because he had probably sense he was going to get drilled on that play, and he kept his feet under him, delivered the pass, just a quick little hitter, and a first down as they moved the ball down to the 22.
So an early gamble pays off for Judd Stewart and the Sioux Falls Cougars as they convert on the 4th down. Richardson stays in the game in the backfield. 3 wide receivers. Eastman wants to throw. Looks short, John Ryan. Dragged down from behind by Aguilera, and a pickup of 6 or 7.
Just a quick over the middle hit. Sure hands of Ryan. We've seen him here. He already had one where he bobbled it. He pulled it back in. He's just got a great set of hands, and kind of want to get it into your sure-handed people at this point as you move inside the red zone. So they're tired on defense. I mean, you could tell we got a lot of hands on the hips. This has been a fast-moving half. Halftime probably can't come soon enough for some of these guys.
First time Sioux Falls has moved into the Raider red zone. 10 minutes to play here in the second quarter. Ryan in motion. Play action. Eastman delivers a nice ball to the end zone, and just a hair too far for John Ryan to haul it in.
And again, John Eastman's got to gather himself off the turf at the 30. As soon as he threw that ball, which was, again, kind of a timing play. We've seen it twice tonight where he's just been a little long on those. But, again, he took the big hit at the end of that play.
Boy, we mentioned he spent some time at schools in the Mountain West Conference. He probably wondered what was NAIA football like, and he's getting a handful of it here today. He is being hit a lot after releasing the football.
Well, there's no question the Red Raider defense is getting around the corner to him. It's been very close a few times to a sack.
Richardson in the backfield for Sioux Falls alongside Eastman. 3 wide receivers. Eastman wants to throw. He's going to the end zone again, and this time Ryan was held up. He ran into a defender, and it's incomplete. Ryan could not get into the end zone.
No, it looked like he just ran into a group of people and could not find his way out the other end. I don't think there was any pass interference there. I just think it was plain old traffic down the field, and Ryan couldn't break through, and that ball lands short. That's a 4th and 4. This probably becomes pretty much a no-brainer that Braden Weeking comes onto the field.
Boy, Braden Weeking, pretty solid kicker last year as a freshman for Sioux Falls. They'll spot this one at the 23. A 33-yard attempt lined up at the right hash. Snap down, hold is good, and the kick is up. Plenty of leg, and it's through the uprights. 9:43 to play in the second quarter, and the lead has been cut by the Cougars, but right now it's Northwestern on top of Sioux Falls, 7-3.
Being accused of committing one of the largest investment frauds in the history of the United States.
I guess we're not going to Aspen. That's fine. You see, I like tennis balls. He likes insider trading. So he's going to jail and I'm going to a shelter. And no, they're not the same thing. Shelters are for good pets that want to be adopted. Jails are for criminals. I've done nothing. Uh-oh. Okay, I stole a cheeseburger once. I'm my dog.
Braden Weeking with a 33-yard field goal, and the Cougars have cut into the lead, but right now the #1 team in the country trails 7-3. Northwestern will get the football back, and a good job by this offense of Sioux Falls, Corey, to turn around and march down the field after their defense was scored on.
Well, any points is better than no points, and that's certainly what they needed on that drive. And again, one of the notes I wrote to myself, is a new coach, new system, but no problem. We got to go out and prove that we're still Sioux Falls and we can move the ball. And sure, you'd love to come away with touchdowns, and they've been pretty accustomed to coming away with touchdowns. But right now, points are needed. We've had a low-scoring game once in the conference today, just a 3-0 game. So, people see those types of things and realize that got to get some points on the board.
Weeking will boot it. It's a high end-over-end kick, fielded at the 1-yard line. Siobhan Walker with the tackle. We've called his name on the return and on the offense, but Walker in on the tackle here.
So 9:39 left here in the second. John, this is kind of time for, I think, Northwestern's offense to maybe try to do what Sioux Falls did and just move that ball down the field. They got to give their defense just some breathing time here. They spent a lot of time on the field. They only gave up the field goal. They kind of won the battle, if you will, and didn't give up the touchdown. But right now it's kind of the offense's turn for Northwestern to spend some time on the field.
Be a little surprised to see Van Otterloo go out and spend time with the offense here early in the drive.
And it's going to be pretty situational here, probably only when there's like a 4 wide receiver set or something like that.
2 in the backfield. Taylor Malm is not one of them. He's split out as a wide receiver, and Brandon Smith straight ahead.
Ball carried up the middle.
I beg your pardon, that's Vanderschaft.
Kevin Vanderschaft.
He was able to carry the ball, his second carry of the ball game.
Kevin Vanderschaft comes to this team out of Edgerton, Minnesota. He played at Edgerton High School. Nice Southwest Minnesota program there. Had a good connection up into those parts for a long time, has Northwestern. Of course, that's probably a little bit in the Sioux Falls area, too, on the recruiting trail. That's probably what makes this rivalry so neat is they cross each other so often on the recruiting trail. You got teammates against teammates in some cases.
Rensick will go in motion for Northwestern. Rosaboom in the gun again. He spent much of this game in the shotgun, and he wants to throw, going deep, looking for his running back Taylor Malm, who was split out, and he's overthrown him. The second time he has missed connection with Taylor Malm streaking down the field.
Eastman's had 2 overthrows, and now we've seen Rosaboom with 2 overthrows, so the wide receiver timing just not quite there. Probably has a little to do with the defense as well, obviously, but right now it's been pretty much been the ground that's picked up most of the yards. It's not that the teams haven't tried to pull out a big play here or there, but we haven't seen the big hitter yet at this point.
And say what you want to say about Rosaboom, but credit a lot of these miscues. This is only his first game. He's been with Northwestern for a while, but injured all of last year, so his first game. And maybe some adjustments, and now penalty markers come flying in as the Cougars trying to call for early movement against Northwestern.
Well, that one's on Northwestern. Umpire had that call. He saw the movement on the inside, I believe, and move it back 5 yards.
So it's back to 3rd down and 10. We're inside 9 minutes to play in this second quarter. 7-3 our score. Northwestern on top here early against Sioux Falls. Walker will split out. Van Otterloo is out there for Northwestern, top of the screen. Play action, they're going to go to Van Otterloo, and miscommunication. That one thrown well away from Van Otterloo. He was headed down the field, and it looked like Rosenboom expected maybe an out route.
Yep. One was going all the way up the middle, and he threw to the out route, just like you said. And those 3rd and 10 plays are tough enough the way it is, but they just didn't have each other's radars going there, and that means a punting situation here for the Red Raiders. So that's not a lot of time for your defense to be on the bench, probably not more than a minute and a half, and they're going to have to come right back out here against Sioux Falls.
Tony Benedetto will get an opportunity again to prove himself as the return man for Sioux Falls, as he fumbled his last opportunity. He won't get an opportunity here, as this one bounces out of bounds. An awkward kick again for Bloemendahl. They're really struggling with the snap to the punter.
Well, they're putting coverage around Bloemendahl. Northwestern is, and I think it's creating not much room to snap the ball is really what's coming down to. And I mean, it has to be the perfect snap, and Davis has had to kind of shift and grab the ball. And of course, I mean, he has very little time to go down and come right back up with it. He's gotten him away so far, but just not a lot of yardage. I think it's just more they've got to create a zone almost back there to cover that fast pursuit by University of Sioux Falls.
Jordan Taylor, the running back for Sioux Falls. John Ryan in motion. Alex Anderson also on the field. They'll keep it on the ground to Taylor, and Taylor straight ahead for about 3 yards.
Simple play action. Both teams kind of having success running the interior running game right now, and just grinding up yards down the middle.
Richardson and Siobhan Walker into the game now for the Cougars. On 2nd down and 8. Here's what they'll call it. This defense, they would love to get a 3 and out. Like we said, they've been spending a lot of time on the football field. 2nd down, Walker in motion. He'll get the carry. Right side, looking for room. Walker, and he's struck down inside the 35 to the 34.
Austin Rosenboom from Sioux Center, a senior on this team, finally wraps him up, but that's a pretty good gain. And moving of the chains here for the University of Sioux Falls, who try to get within striking distance, still playing from behind in this game with Northwestern up 7-3.
You know, the one thing that you look at Judd Stewart historically as a coach, when he went in at Mid-America Nazarene, he brought in 2 transfer running backs, Pat Ely and also Kendall Addison was the other one. He's almost got the same situation now here at USF.
Siobhan Walker with the carry straight ahead. He's wrapped up by TJ Lynch and brought down.
He likes to have,
a couple yards.
Sorry, John. He likes to have 2 running backs that he can go to, and he had Ely and Addison for 2 years at MNU. That he used those guys a lot to get quite a few yards out of, really pound with them, and then try and get it out to a big play wide receiver. And so far, that has been the MO here tonight with the new head coach, Judd Stewart.
Yeah, and I think he's going to stack it up on offense here to the right side, look for something maybe out of the wide receiver right now.
I formation in the backfield. They're giving it to Siobhan Walker straight ahead, and he's wrapped up and pulled down from behind. Nowhere to go for Siobhan Walker as Taylor Morris, the sophomore, is in to make the tackle.
Well, they tracked him all the way, and they had that one ready to go and sniffed out, and a big play forces USF into a long 3rd down. Northwestern could not convert their last long 3rd down, so let's see if the Northwestern defense can force the same.
3rd down, they'll call it 8 here at Corver Field. Orange City, Iowa. The Red Raiders have the lead 7-3. 6.5 to play before intermission. Chris Porter into the game at running back. We haven't seen a whole lot of Porter in the backfield. He'll stay in and block on this play. Eastman steps up across the middle. It's cut. And a lot of room inside the 20. Inside the 10, and Tony Benedetto is down to the 5-yard line.
Just an athletic play there by Benedetto. He turned and has some speed. They've been putting him in motion all night, and he worked out in the flats there, and a big gainer down to the 6-yard line.
Boy, and Tony Benedetto, we really have not seen a lot of him since he fumbled that punt return in the first quarter, but now getting his chance back out there and making the most of it. So the Cougars knocking on the doorstop. They do spot it at the 6-yard line. Turn. Richardson straight ahead. Nowhere to go. Richardson pulled down immediately. No gain.
Stacked him up again. Still a tough task at hand here. You got the Cougars inside the red zone, and they've converted a lot of red zone points over the years.
John Ryan will be into the game. He's been on the field, I believe, for every offensive snap for Sioux Falls. Also have Anderson. Split out. Richardson in the backfield. Eastman, play action, wants to throw. Nobody open. He'll throw it to the back of the end zone. John Ryan up to get it, and he's in. No, they'll say he's out. The back of the end zone. Ryan could not get his feet down.
Well, the back judge was all over that play. He was right by the goalpost, clearly saw it, and happened to be watching the monitor on that one, and I think he nailed the call. It was a tremendously athletic catch, but just out of the back of the end zone.
There was absolutely nobody open, and John Ryan just went and found a hole in the back of the end zone. It was just thrown too tall, and that's something we've seen from John Eastman. He has not been able to dial in a lot of his passes, some of them just sailing too high or too long.
3rd and 6 now, John, so here we sit again with a big 3rd down conversion or a possible field goal.
4 wide receivers. 5. Empty backfield. Eastman, quick pass. Brought down, shy of the goal line, down to the 1.
Boy, did they swarm him, and just threw it out out to the flat again, and just tried to make an athletic play. But the D backfield and the safeties all just swarming in there, and they stop him short. It's going to be a goal line situation. Jason called Coach Stewart the gunslinger earlier. What does he want to do here?
They'll keep the offense on the field. The Cougars are going to roll the dice again on 4th down. 1 for 1 in the ball game on 4th down conversion.
Well, we got Weeking standing by the numbers.
I believe that's Eastman. They both wear number 1.
Oh, that's right.
And I believe this one is the quarterback number 1 in Sioux Falls. They're going to do this again, take a timeout to talk about it. 4:29 to play in the second quarter, and 7-3 Northwestern with the lead, and a pending 4th down conversion coming up for Sioux Falls.
Don't forget to join us next Saturday, ladies and gentlemen, as we'll have another Victory Sports Network NAIA football game of the week coming your way. As Southern Virginia will go to Lindsey Wilson. Pregame at 1:15 Central Time. Kickoff coming your way at 1:30. Lindsey Wilson played their first ever collegiate football game today. Unfortunately, they lost that football game to Notre Dame, so they'll be seeking their first win ever against Southern Virginia University. Head coach Delane Fitzgerald of Southern Virginia bring his squad in to Lindsey Wilson next week. Pregame again at 1:15, and you can see all the action right here on the Victory Sports Network.
7-3 our score at Corver Field. The 23rd ranked team in the country, Northwestern, on top of top-ranked Sioux Falls here in this first half. It looks like the Cougars are going to lead the offense on the field. 4th and 1, 4th and goal here at the goal line. This will be a big play for the defense. Glad to have you along with us on this Saturday night. I'm John Thayer alongside Jason Dannelly. You're used to our voices, and a new voice into the booth for this game, the commissioner of the Great Plains Athletic Conference, Corey Westra. And it's good to have Corey alongside in this battle. We thought we would have a good one, and so far we have certainly had a fantastic ball game. A 4-point lead for Northwestern. The offense out onto the field. Jordan Taylor in the backfield, a running back, who will stop play another time. And I think Northwestern's called a timeout.
Well, the tight end Taylor Klein had lined up in the backfield as a fullback. 6'1", 250, and a sophomore is Klein. And I tell you, John, kind of a jumbo set that USF was going to go with, just trying to hammer that thing home.
Well, and what the timeout might be is to get the right personnel on the field, see how they line up, and then get the right personnel, because when they elected to go for this 4th down before the Sioux Falls timeout, a lot of the big guys up front came out of the ball game, and some other guys into the game. So the coaches of Northwestern, they want to make sure they get this one right. This would be a big play if they could stop the Cougars here on 4th and goal.
I got one score update for you since it's actually pretty close to here, just down the road in Sioux Center. We're in the 3rd quarter, 6 o'clock start time there. Dakota Wesleyan, Coach Brad Pohl, they lead Dordt College 35-0 now with 8:03 left in the 3rd in other GPAC action. Try to get a few more scores along to you here as the night goes on.
Corey, we were talking before this game, and Northwest Iowa is just filled with GPAC football. Almost every game in the conference is up in this area.
Yeah, it's very busy up here tonight. Sioux City has 2 games. Hastings at Briarcliff. Doane is at Morningside. And then you got this game and then the Sioux Center game. And then the only the outlier, I guess, was down in Seward where Concordia went 2-0 today. They beat Nebraska Wesleyan in a very low-scoring baseball game, 3-0. I kidded that was the Wrigley Field game because they were the 1 o'clock. I didn't expect them to have a baseball score.
They shocked Peru State last week. Now Nebraska Wesleyan, they've outscored their opponents in their 2 wins 16-7, but nonetheless they're 2-0. 4th down and goal. I formation. Jordan Taylor, the running back, 2 wide receivers, Anderson and John Ryan. Eastman will give to Taylor straight ahead. Short.
I think he's short.
Jordan Taylor cut short, and he is down at the 1-yard line. Northwestern football. What a big goal line stand.
Boy, there wasn't much room to give there, but they got him. I mean, they timed it, and there it sits. Great job by the camera guys. They're a football short of the end zone, and that is just great defense. First down, though, on the 6-inch line is not the best place in the world to be. Again, a great defensive stop, but you got to have your head about you on offense now and get your troops out of this end zone, or you're going to be facing a safety, which almost could end up worse. So this is, again, where you got to turn around and keep playing football.
And, Corey, you mentioned earlier it's the tradition of this defense not to give up a lot of yards. You can bet they'll be trying to find a way to get into the backfield and wrap up the quarterback for 2 points here. DeHaan split out, top of the screen. Also Walker back there. Now Brandon Smith in motion. Rosenboom lost the football.
Who's got it?
I think Sioux Falls does.
I think they do too.
Oh, my goodness, and the Cougars have it inside the 5-yard line.
It popped loose, John. It went right up in the air, and those interior guys it just went right into the hands of, I think, 98 running off the field there. There's that, give up the big next play, and weren't expecting maybe the fumble, but right there it is, and it's going to be a fresh set of downs for Sioux Falls inside the 5. And it popped up perfectly.
I'm not so sure that hit wasn't laid by Dominic Studzinski, who was right there in the mix of it.
Heard his name a lot last year, of course, in the national championship game against Lindenwood. He was the defensive player of the game, and Dominic coming in here with a big impact play as the first half comes to a close with 4:18 left. But, wow, you called it, John. Defense is going to come there, and they got the perfect pop, and they got it up in the air and right into their hands.
Now the other defense needs to stand tall. We see Jordan Taylor in the backfield again. Eastman to the end zone. John Ryan lost it, couldn't hang on. And incomplete, 2nd down and goal.
Now that ball didn't have a lot of zip on it, so it either was tipped or his arm may have been hit as he released it. So trying to go the passing game again there. Maybe a little bit of a surprise. Thinking maybe Coach Stuger would keep power football as the option, but passing play on 1st down.
I can't be for certain, but it looked like the way Eastman threw that football, he purposely tried to throw that short and put it only to where John Ryan could get to the football. It's either a touchdown or an incompletion. You do not want to throw an interception into the end zone. Anderson, Ryan into the game. Siobhan Walker now the tailback in the I formation. Walker gets the call, and he's into the end zone. Touchdown, Sioux Falls.
Great block up front by University of Sioux Falls. The hole popped wide open, and in they go. And, well, big change of events there. All that momentum of the stop and then the fumble, and right back to where it was looking like it was going of a Sioux Falls lead. They're up 9-7.
For Siobhan Walker, welcome to NAIA football. His first touchdown here after transferring from Eastern Illinois.
He's the kicker.
Braden Weeking on to tack on the extra point. 4:10 to play in the 2nd quarter. To make this a field goal game, high snap. hold down, and the kick is perfectly through the uprights. A nice hold. Braden Weeking puts it through the uprights. 4:10 to play in the second quarter, and the top-ranked Sioux Falls Cougars have their first lead of the game. It's 10-7.
At a time when sports are heading in the wrong direction, the NAIA is changing the culture of sport. Through the Champions of Character program, with the support of Buffalo Funds, our college students are learning character traits that change behaviors, and they're bringing the message to coaches, parents, and teams nationwide. Visit NAIA.org and learn how your team can become champions of character.
Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget the Victory Sports Network NAIA Game of the Week continues each and every Saturday. And on Saturday, September 18th, we'll travel to we'll travel to Grandview University as Marion University will come to town to take on the Vikings of Grandview. Pre-game at 12:45, kickoff at 1 o'clock on the Victory Sports Network.
First touchdown of the season for Sioux Falls goes to Siobhan Walker. He's now out there on the kickoff team. 4:10 to play in the second quarter, and Weeking puts a boot into it. It's taken by Taylor Malm at the 12. Malm looking for room, trying to get to the outside. Look out. Taylor Malm trying to find room on the far sideline, and he's run out of bounds at the 35.
A great way to come back there for Northwestern, get some yardage off the kickoff, try to get your offense in a position to put a final drive together here, hopefully of the first half. The 4-minute drill, not quite the 2-minute drill, kind of gives them a little extra time. And Sioux Falls had the opportunity to get the ball back after the fumble and had an extra set of downs, found a way to get into the end zone. Let's see what Northwestern comes back with against that Cougar defense. Been a great first half, just a very competitive game. Both teams capitalizing now on the mistakes, that really put points on the board.
We talked about the rivalry between these two programs, and this is why, as Brandon Smith takes it forward for a few yards, about 3 on the play, second down. But this is what makes a rivalry. You have close games year in and year out.
Well, and you have big plays, that sway games, and you never know when they're going to happen. You think you might have the play that's going to make the difference, and then there's another one that follows it up. And last year was kind of like that. Northwestern coming out of the half, kind of thinking, we can get back into this, and then Lopez has the big kickoff return to start the second half, kind of just knocks everything down. So, like you said, that's what rivalries are all about.
2 wide receivers into the game for Northwestern. No option to Taylor Malm, but a penalty marker down. This one came from the referee.
That's the backfield. That was the fullback moving. He just was moving prior to the snap.
Yeah, Brandon Smith back there may have stepped forward as he saw Taylor Malm coming in motion. We've seen that play a few times here for Northwestern, where they have Malm split out as a wide receiver and in motion, and they either give it to Smith up the middle or keep it on the option to Malm. Second down and 11. 3:11 to play in the second quarter. Rosaboom from the gun, option play. Taylor Malm tries to cut back, and he's wrapped up by Dom Studzinski. Nowhere to go.
Yeah, the hole just didn't open up there, John. They didn't have enough blockers out front, and like you said, Dominic Studzinski was right there to wrap him up and met him straight on. Got another score from the Great Plains Athletic Conference. 11 minutes left in the game now in Sioux City. It's Hastings 26 and Briarcliff 0.
Hastings will get a big challenge next week. Northwestern, I believe, is on the road to Hastings next week, and that'll be another top 25 battle, assuming Northwestern stays in this game. They'll probably stay in the top 25 at 23, that area. Hastings, I believe, right now ranked 13.
Yep, 13th in the country. Playoffs last year and coming out making a statement early this year.
3rd and 12. Rosaboom wants to run. Nowhere to go. It's Studzinski again to make sure he doesn't go anywhere.
That's kind of become his defensive show here, and wrapped him up on the 3rd down play, and the Red Raiders will be forced to punt. So now it becomes a matter of defensively digging your heels in and trying to manage the clock before halftime and try to go to the locker room only down by 3.
Dan Schmeichel was also in on the stop. He had a hold of the ankles of Rosaboom, and then Studzinski, he laid a boom of his own to make sure the tackle was made. Really struggled with the snaps here on punts for Northwestern today. And this punt will get away. This is a good punt. It's going to drive Benedetto back. He'll let it roll. Look at this roll for Northwestern inside the 15-yard line, and it'll continue to roll and finally lay to rest at the 12-yard line.
Wow. Davis Blumendahl with a tremendous kick there. Can't emphasize enough. You're talking a freshman here who has not played a college game. He knows this field well. He was the quarterback at MOC Floyd Valley, which is just over our broadcast point over the hill, past the windmill. We are in Orange City, of course. And but punting here tonight, and just a great job.
Well, and you mentioned they want to go to halftime down just 3 points, and what a great way to do it there by getting that big punt. Now Sioux Falls will have to march a long ways if they want to add to this score. Minute 18 to play in the second quarter. Eastman in the gun, Chris Porter in the backfield. 4 wide receivers into the game for the Cougars. Eastman wants to throw. Has plenty of time across the middle. Intercepted! John Gerber inside the 20 to the 19-yard line, and Northwestern in business late in quarter number 2.
He was the only one there, and as you mentioned, John Gerber just stood there and took it in and got some yards after it, and Northwestern not only managing the clock, how about that for a defensive effort, and the ball inside the red zone here, just a yard inside the red zone with a minute 9 to go.
What a turn of events. If Northwestern can punch this in or at least tie it up before intermission, boy, that would be all they could ask for right now.
Well, in a game like this, you really almost gotta score points here. These are the types of situations where you got to take advantage if you're Northwestern and put something on the board.
Rosaboom in the shotgun. He'll give it to Brandon Smith. This is where they had success in the first quarter and much of the second quarter, and Smith is forward to the 11-yard line.
Boy, that is about as hard of 8 yards as you're going to see. He just had the ball hammered at his arms the whole way through, and he spun and he spun and he dug in and he got it down to just almost the 10-yard line. So a great effort there out of the backfield, and Sioux Falls is going to be going all ball here trying to force that thing to the turf with 40 seconds to go.
Clock continues to roll as we close down towards intermission. Low snap, option. Rosaboom lets it fly to Taylor Malm. Malm to the outside, and he's run out of bounds at the 7-yard line.
Well, that'll stop the clock. That's good. That's a good call there on offense by Northwestern. Hopefully break the corner, get some yards, but more importantly, not have to call a timeout. Still have a couple of timeouts, though, here. They have not used their timeouts. They wanted to have a timeout when Sioux Falls had the ball deep. They were trying to call it, but they did not get it, and that might come in big here.
And now a first down and goal at the 7-yard line. Half minute to play before intermission. Tyler Walker splits out. Taylor Malm splits out towards the far sideline. Brandon Smith in the backfield. Malm in motion. They'll go option. Rosaboom let it go at the perfect time. Inside the 5 to the 4-yard line is Taylor Malm.
There's your timeout. Coach Achterhoff is out on the field. Quickly going to blow this one dead at 22.3 seconds. And knocking on the doorstep here are the Red Raiders. And let's see what they dial in here.
Boy, I tell you what, guys, look at Jamie Rosaboom and the way he has run the option for Northwestern. He may be one of the best option quarterbacks I've seen in a while because he waits until he is about to absolutely get tattooed before he lets go of the football.
It's been a long time since Northwestern has been able to play this style of football. Pound it at you, run it at you, rely on the run, have a quarterback that can take a beating, have a big running back, and then have a big fullback that you can turn around to give the ball to. I mean, the way they're moving the ball right now reminds me of the team, I believe it was in 1998 or 1999, that had Dave Perigo set an NAIA rushing record at that time. I mean, they're pounding the football right now. This is impressive Northwestern football.
Yeah, a lot of options right now on that offense for Northwestern, and they've always kind of been missing something over the last couple of years, injury or something comes into play. So they'll stack it up again here, John, with 24 seconds to go.
3 wide receivers into the game. Far sideline, it's Rensink and Walker. Near sideline, Caleb Van Otterloo. Malm in the backfield with Vanderschaaf. And they'll throw for it to the end zone. Van Otterloo, and he's out of the back of the end zone. Had a beautiful catch, but could not get the foot down.
Nope, certainly did. Great hands, great whereabouts, just didn't have quite enough room to get the shoes in. So good play call there. Didn't lose a lot of time, just a couple of seconds, and the incomplete pass will stop the clock here, and still a timeout to go here for the Raiders. So if they do run the ball, they can still stop the clock one more time.
I was just going to mention, I would not be surprised to see a Brandon Smith straight ahead here. 4 yards to go, and they still have a timeout left. But here we go. They're going to have 3 in the backfield. Smith, Vanderschaft, and Malm. And it's option. Malm dives. He's upended, and he's down to the 1. I believe he landed right on his helmet at the 1 yard line.
Yeah, I think the shoulder pad got the pylon, John, but I believe that the helmet is back at the 1, and that's a tough call, but he was up in windmill, or I should say whirly-birded in the air there. He just took a beating on the corner. Coach Achteroff wants him to be in, and he it's such, he had the worst angle on it because he's coming from across the field, but what a play.
And now we've talked about Sioux Falls gambling. If you're Northwestern, do you roll the dice here? 13 seconds to play before halftime, and you have an option here, 4th and 1. Do you go for the touchdown in the lead for halftime, or do you settle for the tie?
I think going into halftime 10-10 at home, I don't think you give up points when you're at home.
So it's a 3rd down, John, actually. Oh, 4th down, okay.
Yeah.
He corrected himself. I was going to say that would make the call very easy, but so now you're going to see that.
Would have been out pretty quick there, and that would have been 3rd down.
Well, he's out there anyway. But this is going to be a 4th down, and, boy, I don't know. You kind of didn't plan on being in this position in the first place. This is the ifs and buts part that we can sit up here and talk about what they're going to do. But if I'm them, I think I go for it.
We have a timeout to talk about it. A lot of times late in the game, you'll use this. We're at home. We have to go for it. Do you use that here?
I think so. I mean, the thing, well, I guess maybe I disagree. I'm just trying to think here. We're at home. If you're Northwestern, you're at home, you tie it up 10-10, you've got the second half. It's kind of like being on the road when you're heading into overtime. You don't want to go into overtime. Well, I think when you're at home, you don't want to give up points, and right now you can almost guarantee yourself 3 points if you kick the field goal.
Well, and here's the other thing to consider. We've only got 13 seconds before half. If you don't get it, you don't really have that opportunity for your defense to make a big stand here and have momentum shift, because that's all going to be wiped away at halftime.
Well, I'm here to tell you, first of all, they're going to go for it because they're coming out with the offense. But I would also say you're against a Sioux Falls defense that gave up under 5 points a game last year, and you got the ball about a foot away from the end zone. Obviously, Northwestern thinks they need to go for the touchdown.
Well, line up in the shotgun again. It is Taylor Malm and Brandon Smith in the backfield.
Looks like we got some Northwestern former players on the chat board right now on the live stream channel. They're saying Taylor Malm 20 blast.
They were just Rosenboom. He came over here screaming for another player to come out on the field. They only had 10 guys on the field. Rensink in motion, 13 seconds to play before intermission. 4th and goal. Brandon Smith, touchdown Northwestern.
Well, they rolled the dice. They got the fullback, and he got in there. He snuck it around on the left hash, and boy, we sit up here. You got to about imagine how the hearts of the Northwestern staff are beating. What if we don't get this in? But that's a big score, no question. Goes without saying. 10 seconds left in the half to take the lead on the #1 team in the country.
Boy, I think Brandon Smith has proved that he is going to be one of the big offensive leaders for this football team all season long. He has had a tremendous game. Rodriguez on to kick the extra point to extend this to a 4-point advantage for the Red Raiders.
We knew what we were doing putting this game in week 1.
Get the excitement going,
That's right.
Rodriguez, and the extra point is through the uprights. 10 seconds to play before intermission, and the Red Raiders lead it by 4 over the top-ranked Cougars of Sioux Falls.
Oh, this isn't good. I was a gift from him to her. I'm going to the animal shelter, which isn't necessarily bad. I just hate the stigma associated with shelter pets. People will think I bite or that I spray everywhere. They're the ones with problems. I'm totally fine. Adopt me, you'll see. I'm gonna go pack. I can't even believe you.
Kyle Achterhoff rolls the dice, and the Red Raiders convert on 4th and goal. They're up 4 points, 14-10 our score. Red Raiders, they'll try to hold on to that heading into intermission. But first, we have to get through this kickoff. And it'll be Adam Lopez and Chris Porter back deep for Sioux Falls to try to get the momentum back on their side. Maybe a big return could set up for a big play.
Yeah, you gotta get out of this 10 seconds. I mean, you just can't assume that this half is over. This is great. We're up by 4. This is just a tough special teams play. Can't let anything special happen. As I said off the top, you got to take care of business here if you're Northwestern. If you're Sioux Falls, you're going to go for broke here. I mean, this half is not over.
Boy, what a great crowd on hand this evening. Not only for the home crowd, but Sioux Falls. They have Sioux Falls faithful come out in a plenty over on the far side. This will go to Porter at the 11. Porter to the 30. Found a hole for a second and closed down. And 5 seconds to play here in the second quarter.
Again, that was pretty close to popping open there in the second wave, but Northwestern quickly came and got the gap. And we'll see what Coach Stugart thinks here. Do we try to go for anything here, or do we just kind of run a pretty conservative play and go to the chalkboard?
We have seen the arm of John Eastman, and I'll tell you, he's got a rifle. He just has not been able to hit his guys in stride here in this football game, and it's a tight formation. The first time we have seen this, and they will line up like they are going to take a knee here and just go into intermission down by 4, and that's exactly what they will do. Time has expired here in the second quarter of play, and right now it's the home team, Northwestern Red Raiders. They lead it over the Sioux Falls Cougars 14-10.
This financial advisor is being accused of committing one of the largest investment frauds in the history of the United States.
I guess we're not going to Aspen. That's fine. You see, I like tennis balls. He likes insider trading. So he's going to jail and I'm going to a shelter. And no, they're not the same thing. Shelters are for good pets that want to be adopted. Jails are for criminals. I've done nothing. Uh-oh. Ooh, okay, I stole a cheeseburger once. How my dog?
It's easy to tell if you've had way too many. But what if you've had just one too many? Buzz driving is drunk driving.
At a time when sports are heading in the wrong direction, the NAIA is changing the culture of sport. Through the Champions of Character program, with the support of Buffalo Funds, our college students are learning character traits that change behaviors, and they're bringing the message to coaches, parents, and teams nationwide. Visit NAIA.org and learn how your team can become champions of character. At a time when sport...
This financial advisor is being accused of committing one of the largest investment frauds in the history of the United States.
I guess we're not going to Aspen. That's fine. You see, I like tennis balls. He likes insider trading. So he's going to jail and I'm going to a shelter. And no, they're not the same thing. Shelters are for good pets that want to be adopted. Jails are for criminals. I've done nothing. Uh-oh. Ooh, okay, I stole a cheeseburger once. How my dog?
This financial advisor is being accused of committing one of the largest investment frauds in the history of the United States.
And welcome back to the Northwestern College home opener between, of course, Northwestern, the Red Raiders, and the University of Sioux Falls. We're back here at the halftime, and joining us now at the half is, well, a guy that I guess we could say is the written word leader of the Great Plains Athletic Conference, a guy that, of course, covers the GPAC, and it's very near and dear to his heart. His name, Mr. B. Lynn Fouts. Barry, how are you?
Pretty good. A little cold, but that's the way you want football in the fall.
You know, football in the fall, it's not exactly something we expect to see the first week of the year, but nonetheless, you know, hey, football, we might as well keep things going this way and just keep it cool all fall long.
Absolutely.
Makes for a little bit of a better game, needless to say. Now, Barry is with us, and Barry, a couple of years ago, you wrote a book called A Season in the GPAC, and this basically was a book where you traveled around not really around the country, but the countryside, and you took a look at the Great Plains Athletic Conference and the different schools. Talk to us a little bit about that book first, and what inspired you to do the book, and maybe what you learned from it.
Well, the book was based on having watched quite a few games throughout the conference, and what I wanted to do was give people a background of each of the schools. So I did history of the schools from the day they were incepted into today at that time. And then I went to one game at each school for the year and diagrammed out what happened at the game. I took in some great games, and that was the year that we had two semifinalists, Morningside and Sioux Falls, made the semifinals. It was an excellent year. And the book goes into some detail on each school, and it might be the only last remaining place you can find information on Dannelly College.
Yeah, no kidding. Whether it's actually in the written form or actually someplace where you can find it. And right now, of course, the library at Dannelly College isn't exactly open, but you took time at each one of these places to actually go into the library, into the archives, to find out how the school get their charter, how did they get founded.
Yes.
What did you find out in some of that research that maybe you didn't find or you didn't expect before?
Well, I'd never realized that Midland Lutheran College had been in another city. They didn't start at Fremont. They started down in Kansas at Atchison, which also has Benedictine College, another NAIA school. And they moved shortly after World War I. I also found that Sioux Falls was the Braves prior to becoming the Cougars. That's been back in the 70s, I think they were called the Braves. And there was a lot of tidbits. I didn't realize how long Northwestern was a 2-year school rather than a 4-year school.
Yeah. And really, you start thinking about nicknames in the Great Plains Athletic Conference that have changed. There was a lot of Native American nicknames that have changed. I mean, Morningside, of course, is the Chiefs, the Braves. I think the idea behind Midland Lutheran and the Warriors at that time was more Native American based, and now it is just kind of a mythical, theoretical warrior is their mascot. So, you know, really, when you start looking at the Great Plains Athletic Conference, there's a lot of things in that Native American culture.
Quite a bit. You had the Nebraska Plains, the Pawnee, you had the Sioux up in North Dakota, South Dakota, and a lot of our mascots around the country are Native American, although we're losing quite a few of them. And the Maroon Chiefs from Morningside had been called that for almost 70 years. And it's something I'm not going to, say yes or no to.
Yourself being, of course, a Morningside grad, and that was a little bit of the idea when, we started up the Victory Sports Network back in 2002, and at that time known by many as NAIFootball.net. You were one of the first people on there because that was when Morningside was making that first push, the change to join the National Association of Intercollegiate Athletics.
Yes, they found that the NCAA was not the right fit for them. They wanted to be around peer schools. They looked close by, and they saw the beginnings of the GPAC at the time they were doing their study, and I think they felt it was a natural fit. And it's turned out well for them. It's turned out well for the conference.
Let's talk a little bit about this football game here tonight. Right now, 14-10. It looked like we were going to be going into halftime with the score 10-7, but a quick turnover, and Northwestern capitalizes. What are your thoughts on this football game so far tonight?
I think we see that where Sioux Falls is slightly inexperienced, the offensive line Northwestern's experienced. You see the quarterback at Sioux Falls is first-year player for him, and you have a secondary with Northwestern that's got Caleb Van Anderloo. A lot of experience on that Northwestern defense. That's what's kept Sioux Falls a little bit at bay. You flip on the other side, and you have a little bit of an inexperience with a brand new quarterback, Jamie Rosenboom for Northwestern, and you have a little bit of inexperience on that defense. You've got a big linebacker like Stadzinski. You also have Koolstra on the defensive line. A lot of new faces, though. So this game is up for grabs. I was here in 2006 for a game. There was a three-pointer. It'll probably come down to that tonight.
Yeah, it certainly looks like it will as we are at the half here. It's Northwestern College and the University of Sioux Falls. Score right now at halftime, there you see it. It is 14-10. Northwestern leading this game at the half. Stick around, folks. We've got more coming up on the halftime right here on the Victory Sports Network.
Oh, this isn't good. I was a gift from him to her. I'm going to the animal shelter, which isn't necessarily bad. I just hate the stigma associated with shelter pets. People will think I bite or that I spray everywhere. They're the ones with problems. I'm totally fine. Adopt me, you'll see. I'm gonna go pack.
At a time when sports are heading in the wrong direction, the NAIA is changing the culture of sport. Through the Champions of Character program, with the support of Buffalo Funds, our college students are learning character traits that change behaviors, and they're bringing the message to coaches, parents, and teams nationwide. Visit NAIA.org and learn how your team can become champions of character.
This financial advisor is being accused of committing one of the largest investment frauds in the history of the United States.
I guess we're not going to Aspen. That's fine. You see, I like tennis balls. He likes insider trading. So he's going to jail and I'm going to a shelter. And no, they're not the same thing. Shelters are for good pets that want to be adopted. Jails are for criminals. I've done nothing. Uh-oh. Ooh, okay, I stole a cheeseburger once. I'm a dog.
This financial advisor is being...
It was bad. It was like...
It's easy to tell if you've had way too many. But what if you've had just one too many? Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Did you get a call from the coach about those kids who were caught drinking?
Not our guys. They know better.
Yeah, they know better.
Heads up, sport.
Real kids are curious about alcohol. 40% tried by the 8th grade. Talk early, talk often, get others involved.
And welcome back here to Corver Field. John Thayer alongside Jason Dannelly is right now. Jason, I guess you could kind of say a surprise with the #1 team in the country trailing, but we knew that Northwestern had the potential to play well against the Sioux Falls team.
Yeah, we really did. We felt like Northwestern could come in here and they could stick with the University of Sioux Falls. I think the most important thing in this game will be any adjustments that either team makes at halftime. The University of Sioux Falls, new coaching staff, new ideas, new system. They have to go into halftime and start making some key adjustments to try and limit this Northwestern rushing attack. The Red Raiders have ran the football on Sioux Falls like I've never seen in the last 5 to 6 years. They are running the football, and they're doing it with power yardage.
And we talked about the option play. That has really been their bread and butter in this. If it's not up the middle to Brandon Smith, it's been the option with Rosaboom to Malm, and that's really worked out for them.
Yeah, it really has. And I tell you, that option play and having 2-3 guys that you can go to legitimately on it really make it run better. Rosenboom can potentially run it. Malm's a guy on the outside, and the fullback getting it up the middle. Each one of those 3 guys is somebody have to check off on. Sometimes when you're running the option in Northwestern in the last couple of years, they haven't really had that guy that was consistently a threat. He could be a threat, but not a guy that every time he touched the football, he could get 5 or 6 yards. And I think we're seeing that here tonight.
Well, if there's one thing that really surprises me in this game right now, Jason, it's that John Eastman he's not throwing the ball very well at all. I thought we would see him be a better passer coming into this game, but right now it just seems like maybe he is not comfortable right now with this offense. He's just missed some targets.
Yeah, I wonder if he almost underestimated the speed of this game. And I don't ever want to make it sound like, a Division I guy is coming into the football game and thinking, oh, it's just NAIA football. It's a slower game. No, I mean, I just feel like he hasn't caught up with the speed of the game here, John, in that he's been limited some here in the first half just because he just simply hasn't been able to get those throws in there. Now, I did not get a good vantage point on the interception there at the end. Talk a little bit about what you saw when he threw the interception that resulted in 7 points for Northwestern.
Well, John Eastman was standing in there, and he had a little bit of pressure, but I wouldn't really consider it a lot of pressure that he had on that throw, and he just let it go, and it sailed over everyone except for John Gerber, who was standing there wide open. The only problem, he was wearing the wrong jersey.
Yeah, whenever you get the ball to the guy with the wrong colored jersey, it certainly is not going to be very advantageous for your offense. And right now, Northwestern leading in this game 14-10. The number 1 team in the country is on the ropes. Personally, this is a much better game than I thought that we would see. I thought it would be sloppy play that would lead to lesser scoring in the first half. It's been big physical play, and the defenses stepping up and stopping the offenses. We really haven't seen those traditional, false starts, somebody jumps off sides, there's a quick holding on the outside because you didn't get your footwork right. We haven't seen any of that really here in the first half like we had in other first games of the season.
Well, Jason, you've been around these two programs for quite some time, and you know them very well. So what kind of adjustments do you make now coming out of the halftime locker room?
Simply Northwestern needs to come out, keep playing physical football offensively. I mean, they need to keep pounding the ball inside, of course, and they need to keep going right at the Sioux Falls defense and not backing down. On the other end, the adjustments need to be made defensively for Sioux Falls to limit the run and make Rosenboom get in situations where it's 3rd and 7, 3rd and 12, 2nd down and 13, and make him throw the football. I don't think Rosenboom's arm's been tested yet, and when it has been tested, Northwestern hasn't been very successful, John. I think you flip over to the Sioux Falls offense. Sioux Falls has been establishing the run, but they haven't really had very many opportunities to where, well, actually, they have had opportunities to complete passes, but in the end, it just really, they haven't been able to grab hold of the football with their wide receivers, get an open space, and make plays. The wide receivers have got to make plays. They've got to get on the same page as Eastman if they're going to be successful here in the second half. The Northwestern defense, really, I just think they need to keep doing what they've been doing. They've been limiting Sioux Falls on the big play. They've been limiting the run, and Sioux Falls hasn't hooked up on the pass. If they can keep doing those things here in the second half, they're going to be successful.
Well, 14-10 is our score right now at intermission, and we are just a couple of minutes away from getting the second half started in this one. Right now, it's Northwestern, number 23 in the country. They lead the top-ranked Sioux Falls Cougars 14-10 at the break.
At a time when sports are heading in the wrong direction, the NAIA is changing the culture of sport. Through the Champions of Character program, with the support of Buffalo Funds, our college students are learning character traits that change behaviors, and they're bringing the message to coaches, parents, and teams nationwide. Visit NAIA.org and learn how your team can become champions of character.
This financial advisor is being accused of committing one of the largest investment frauds in the history of the United States.
I guess we're not going to Aspen. That's fine. You see, I like tennis balls. He likes insider trading. So he's going to jail and I'm going to a shelter. And no, they're not the same thing. Shelters are for good pets that want to be adopted. Jails are for criminals. I've done nothing. Uh-oh. Ooh, okay, I stole a cheeseburger once. How my dog?
Did you get a call from the coach about those kids who were caught drinking?
Not our guys. They know better.
Yeah, they know better.
Heads up, sport.
Real kids are curious about alcohol. 40% tried by the 8th grade. Talk early, talk often, get others involved.
Oh, this isn't good. I was a gift from him to her. I'm going to the animal shelter, which isn't necessarily bad. I just hate the stigma associated with shelter pets. People will think I bite or that I spray everywhere. They're the ones with problems. I'm totally fine. Adopt me, you'll see.
And I'll just bring it out.
Okay.
And welcome back to Orange City, Iowa. Northwestern and Sioux Falls hooking up in this one in a Great Plains Athletic Conference battle, and a battle between two top 25 teams. And right now, the number one team in the country down 4 at halftime as Northwestern leads 14-10. John, it's been a fantastic one as we get set to go into the second half of play. USF just really hasn't been able to mesh offensively with the passing game. The running game has been there at times.
Yeah, it really has. And you mentioned this close game. It's everything we could have asked for and a lot more as Northwestern and Sioux Falls playing this one very close. Northwestern a chance to open the season at home, second year under Kyle Achterhoff, looking for the big win. And we talked about they want to get back into the playoff mix, into the postseason of the NAIA. And what they've missed the last couple of years is the big win. And they finished like 4th in the conference like last year. They're looking for the big win. They have Sioux Falls here at home next weekend. They're on the road to Hastings, so it doesn't get any easier. That's why this is a huge game for Northwestern.
I would agree, John. And the thing about Northwestern's early schedule is if they do play the best teams and they do beat the best teams, they have to like what they've got for the rest of the season. I mean, they've got to feel comfortable. They've got to feel confident going into Great Plains Athletic Conference play. On the other side, the University of Sioux Falls has got to know, hey, if we can get into this football game and we can get a lead here in the second half, and we can hold that lead. All right, we went into one of the toughest places to play in the Great Plains Athletic Conference. We got a victory. We can keep progressing week after week after week and get better and better. Because in the end, the University of Sioux Falls, they are the number one team in the country right now, John. And if they can squeak out a 1-point victory, they'll still be the number one team in the country. And if they just keep winning throughout the entire season, they'll stay there and be perfectly fine when it becomes postseason time.
Well, as we get set for the kickoff here in the second half, update you on a couple of scores from around the conference. Morningside leads Doane at the half 9-0 is the score in Sioux City for 5th-ranked Morningside. Hastings now 33-0 on Briarcliff. That's in the 4th. Dakota Wesleyan 42-7 lead on Dordt. They're also in the 4th. And then, as mentioned earlier today, Concordia to beat Nebraska Wesleyan. Just a field goal in that game. 3-0 was the final score. And as you mentioned here, guys, 14-10 at the half with Northwestern leading the University of Sioux Falls.
Well, I keep mentioning Northwestern has a trip to Hastings next week. How about Sioux Falls? It doesn't get a whole lot easier for them next week. I believe they're in Fremont on the road again to Midland Lutheran, and that's another team that's ready to take their program forward.
Well, absolutely. Phenomenal running game with Khalid Waters, who put up 197 yards last week against Dakota State, a couple of touchdowns. And, I think that's not an easy place to play as well. We've seen some upsets in Fremont over the years, so that is looming, but they've also got a lot of football here tonight.
Second half is underway as Weeking sends a high end-over-end kick to the Red Raiders, and this return brought out to the 33-yard line, where we'll see the offense of Northwestern.
Well, and it's going to be important here for Northwestern to, again, not get on that roller coaster of up and down. They've got a steady she goes here, and let's start the second half off with a nice drive and just kind of keep things in check here, not get too emotional in this game. Certainly emotional leaving the field with the lead, but they've got to kind of check that at the door here and get ready to roll.
How big is this now after scoring to end that first half? And then now your offense back out on the field.
Well, maybe that played into going for it. Maybe he knew in the back of his mind, Coach Achterhoff, that is, that they were going to get the ball back regardless to start the second half.
And to start the second half, it's Brandon Smith straight ahead, breaking tackles for a first down and a pickup of 11 yards.
That kid is tough right there. I mean, he is just churning his legs. He is one of those true fullbacks that you see when you've got an option offense, just pounding.
And he's just a sophomore out of out of Mankato, Minnesota. And right now, if we had to put our votes in for player of the game, we'd probably have to look at him, and probably be between him and the quarterback for all the hits on the option right now. But it's been pretty impressive from the fullback spot.
Just 27 seconds into the third quarter, and the snap goes to Rosenboom. When he wasn't even looking, he's able to get on the football, and he had looked over the sidelines and took the snap right off the chest.
They just dodged a big old bullet there. That could have easily gone past him and given Sioux Falls the ball very deep into the Red Raider territory. Fortunately, it hit him right in the numbers, and had his wits about him, got a good bounce off the turf, and just gobbled it up. But somebody missed something there, and it's a second down play. They're just lucky to survive that.
Keep this play in mind. This could turn out to be the play of the game right now, because this could be, does Northwestern pick it up and now get it back together, or do they dwell on, that miscue there? And if they start doing that, they're going to be in a lot of trouble. They'll keep it on the ground. Brandon Smith shifting and falling forward. He was spun around, able to gain 4 yards on the play. Third down and 11 now for Northwestern.
So really no changes here in terms of Northwestern's offensive game plan coming out of the locker room. Pretty well staying with what got them there. We haven't seen the option yet, I guess, but that maybe comes over the 50 more. But right now just kind of grinding it out and trying to get some yards. But they got a pretty big third down here. I don't think the scoreboard's right. It's probably about a 3rd and 11, I think. It says 3rd and 16 on the board.
I don't think they changed it from the
there
last
we go,
play.
3rd and 10 officially, according to the folks a couple booths down.
Walker will split out to the far sideline. Rensink in motion. Taylor Malm also split out near side. 3rd down and 10. He's going to go to Malm, able to make the catch. What an adjustment by Taylor Malm inside the 30-yard line to the 27.
Wow. He just worked his way back to get in position to catch that ball. That was a tremendous athletic play by Malm, who proved that he can come out of the backfield and do some damage.
Yeah, and I think anytime you can get it to Taylor Malm out of the backfield, he's going to be dangerous. But credit Jamie Rosenboom there with a little run-pass option look. Great job selling the play action, setting his feet and throwing it down the sideline.
Well, that's where the first few plays of the half really set that up, and you're right on, Jason. It kind of was probably in the back of their mind and executed perfectly.
That's a big play. If you don't do each of those fakes the way you're supposed to, you're going to be tackled in the backfield for a loss. Brandon Smith, he's not going for a loss as he's forward for 4 yards. Wrapped up by Dominic Studzinski. He's been in on a lot of plays for Sioux Falls.
Just one play at a time here if you're the Red Raiders. Again, Sioux Falls kind of back on their heels defensively here, kind of finding themselves where they were at the end of the first half when after the interception they had their backs to this exact same goal line, and, very, very close, but Northwestern managed to get that final half yard and get it in.
Something different we are seeing today that we're not seeing today that we have in the past from this defense of Sioux Falls is the big play. They did have the one turnover, but they really haven't had too many big plays as this one swung out to Van Otterloo in on the offense, and he's inside the 20-yard line, inside the red zone here on the opening drive of the second half.
We'll see how much Van Otterloo goes both ways here in the second half. I'd imagine we're still going to see him on the defensive side of the ball, but another option to go to there. It's been Malm for the last couple of times, and now Van Otterloo back into the play.
Well, I don't believe Van Otterloo has been off of the field on defense, but maybe 1 or 2 plays. He takes himself out on offense when he feels like he needs a break. 3rd down and short. 11.5 to play in the third quarter. 2 wide receivers split out, and they'll keep it on the ground to Taylor Malm. He has the first down, needed 2, and he got 3.
See where this pile comes out here, John. It's just going to be a big spot. The way I'm seeing the linesman come in, I think it's not going to be a problem at all. Yeah, that looks like that's plenty by at least 1.5 yards. So they got the good spot. He rolled his way forward and got the big first down inside the red zone. Fresh set of downs. Very, very important at this juncture as you're getting close to the end zone.
And the marker was on the 17-yard line. The football now sits at the 16-yard line. Good for a first down as 4 minutes have gone by in this third quarter, and so far the opening drive of this third quarter has belonged to Northwestern, and they're making the most of it. 1st and 10. Keep it on the ground. Vanderschaff left side. And he's brought down after a pickup of about 4.
That O-line up front has just been a bunch of brutes tonight for Northwestern, and they have really proven that there's some experience up there. They've got folks like John Adam up there from Sioux City, Daniel Solis, Travis Hoffmeyer, Logan Ogden, Nathan Neuendorf, Derek Rensink. Those guys have been around. Those are familiar Northwestern football names, and they don't get a lot of the glory, but they're really help move the ball right now.
2nd down and 6. Option pass to the end zone. Tyler Walker's in the end zone. Touchdown, Red Raiders.
Wow, how about rolling the dice there, John? The little trickery. We've seen a hook and ladder beat Sioux Falls a few years ago. There's the play option pass, and just perfectly executed.
Boy, Brandon Smith, we talked about his play, and now he throws an absolute strike to Walker, and then he came over to the sideline. One of the coaches went to greet him, and he just knocked him over. A lot of excitement on the side of the Red.
I tell you what, Northwestern rolling the dice, like you said, Corey, and in a big game like this, you've got to be prepared to maybe take a risk that your fans are going to say, what the heck were you thinking? Or in a situation like this, they're going to say, great call, Coach, great call.
Kick is up, and it is through the uprights for Rodriguez. 10-17 to play in the 3rd quarter, and it's Northwestern 21, top-ranked Sioux Falls 10.
Don't forget to join us next Saturday, ladies and gentlemen, as we'll be live from the campus of Lindsey Wilson.